Hello, and welcome to the 6-5 Summit. I'm Shelley Kramer, one of the founding partners here at Futurum Research, and on behalf of my team at Futurum and the team at Moor Insights Strategy, welcome. We're glad to have you. In this spotlight session, Moor Insights Strategy's Patrick Moorhead is joined by Mishka Dehghan, T-Mobile for Business's Senior Vice President of Strategy, Product, and Solutions Engineering. Their conversation today centers on one of my favorite topics, the future of work, and the role mobile technology and collaboration play in fostering productivity in our new hybrid environment. I can't wait to hear what they have to say. Let's go check it out.
Mishka, welcome to the 6-5 Summit 2021. It's so great to have you here. This is T-Mobile's second year, but this is your first year here. Thank you so much for coming.
Patrick, thank you so much for having me. I was really looking forward to this conversation and excited to be sharing some thoughts that T-Mobile and T-Mobile for Business has in the space of in the new 5G era.
Yeah, so let's jump right in. I mean, your customers, you're right in the middle of everything here. And it's been a little over a year since the merger between T-Mobile and Sprint. And T-Mobile is best known as the Un-carrier for consumer wireless. But T-Mobile has really put a stake in the ground when it comes to supporting the business customer. The new T-Mobile is more than just a consumer wireless company, right?
It absolutely is. T-Mobile for Business is the fastest growing business unit within T-Mobile. So it's really an exciting time for us. You're right. So in the eyes of the public, the general population, T-Mobile was best known up to this point as a consumer brand. But the tides are changing, and T-Mobile for Business is really in this market and looking forward to making a change and bringing change to an industry that has been controlled for the last 10 years by the incumbents. We, as you know, have a significant market share, close to 30% when it comes to small, medium businesses. What we are focusing our attention to now in this new 5G era is really growing in enterprise and government, where there is still a ton of complexity that we are looking to completely debunk and demystify and simplify for all business customers.
Yeah, in our analysis at Moor Insights Strategy, I mean, it's very clear that customers do want a different look. They are looking for some changes, and I was super excited to see everything you're doing so far. So, like I said before, you're talking to your customers on a daily basis, and as we're not out of the pandemic yet, or we're getting out of the pandemic, but businesses are grappling with different work models for their employees. And I was wondering, are employees excited to go back to the pre-pandemic work environment? And what about businesses? And do you think this is a trend, this work from anywhere? Is it a trend or a fad?
I think it's totally a trend that's here to stay. If the pandemic taught us one thing, employees or employers equally, is that we can be efficient and productive and collaborative no matter where we are and where we work from. Many employees have really adopted and embraced this flexibility that they have in working from anywhere. And employers had to really jam pack a decade of acceleration in terms of bringing productivity and collaboration tools to their employees because they had to. So I think it's a trend as we are now thankfully coming out of the pandemic, many of us returning to our offices. Look, I'm in the office today, which is something that probably hasn't happened more than 5 times in the last 14 months. I was super excited about coming here. But we want to make sure that, we have the flexibility to work from anywhere we need to work from. And employers are looking for new ways to support this hybrid model, which is really going to be what we used to call tomorrow's new normal. Well, guess what? Tomorrow is here now.
Yeah, and it's interesting. We do our own research, and I have even kids that are in the workplace, and even they're split in how many days they want to go in. But one thing is for sure is people are appreciating the freedom to go in the office or not go in the office, and I think that's a big deal. So, is this more of a pull versus push trend? I mean, are businesses that you're talking to being pulled in from work from anywhere model by their employees, like I talked about, like my daughters, or are businesses really looking at new business models here?
I really believe it's a combination of the two. I think there was a little bit of the forcing factor of the pandemic, pushing everyone to come up with new ways. And, we had to do it like really fast. Employers woke up one day and they said, okay, how do I continue having the same level of security and control and visibility of all the people that I have on my network, all the assets that I have on my network, where my people are now working, in a very distributed environment. At the same time, the employees demonstrated during this past 12 months that they can be just as productive being remote. So the real question was, how do we bring on new tools, new solutions that deliver the same level of collaboration for the employees and the same level of control and security and visibility for the employers? At T-Mobile for Business, and I know you know this, Patrick, but we were very excited. You mentioned it in your opening remarks. We are the Un-carrier. We never had an Un-carrier moment in the T-Mobile for Business, side of the house. All of our Un-carrier moments were really consumer focused. Just a couple of months ago, we launched our very first Un-carrier move for T-Mobile for Business, really bringing, the strength of a very powerful 5G network, putting it in the hands of businesses so that they can enable their remote employees so that they can have the same level of connectivity at home that they had in their offices and the same collaboration tools that they had working in traditional offices. So we called it WFX, the X really standing for work from anywhere, because to your point earlier, this is the new trend. This is where we're going. Our new normal is having the flexibility. And I love the fact that you picked on the word freedom, because, as private citizens, as employees, right now, we don't want anything more than we want freedom. We want to have the freedom to go about and, work anywhere we need to work, but maintain our engagement, with our colleagues.
Gosh, I'm getting excited here. This is fun, and I followed your WFX product announcements, your service announcements, and I was impressed. I felt like you pulled in your roadmap by months, maybe even years in terms of what I saw. But let's double click into how work from anywhere impacts talent. And how is technology going to play a role in recruiting and retaining the best talent out there?
I think the technology is going to play a significant role in, attracting talent and retaining talent. We just talked about the flexibility and freedom that employees want. Increasingly, employees are going to, look for, roles and jobs in companies where they have the flexibility to be hybrid. They can be going into the office a couple of days a week, but also, maybe work remotely. So I think it's a two-sided phenomenon that's really happening. One is using technology to attract the right talent, and also using technology to maintain the right talent, because obviously there's a shortage of skilled workers right now, and all the employers are in the fight. Let's call it what it is. It's a big race to go after scarce talent in specific areas. So the employers, the enterprises have to really put their best technology foot forward, in attracting talent and retaining them, using this new collaboration tools and these new engagement tools. I love the fact that we can have a virtual whiteboard. I mean, in some functions, like part of my organization within T-Mobile for Business is running the product organization for the B2B space. And think about designing new products and having that innovative energy. And we wanted to do that, being in a room, but with all of our colleagues, we started leveraging some of these collaboration tools that we launched for our customers, and being productive. And hey, WFX was a product that was born out of virtual collaboration.
What I love about that and what you talked about is I really think you're looking into the future, because I don't think many companies or even enterprises have fully thought how hard it is going to be to do WFX. This whole notion of being there, whether you're at home or on the road or in the office, and having, let's say, an equal voice out there, I think is going to be fascinating, because it was one thing when we were all equal squares or rectangles, right? And now, when we're going to this hybrid approach, it's going to be a combination of the two. And I think we're going to be having a lot of conversations in the next year of the best way to do this. And I know T-Mobile is going to play a huge role in this. Let's flip over to productivity. What are your thoughts of how these employees remain productive while they're working everywhere? And I know that's a big question. It's a very general question, but I think it's an important one we need to ask.
It's a critical question for many different reasons. I'll use maybe just a couple of examples to illustrate how we worked with our customers, really understanding what their needs are and how they're trying to respond to this change and making sure everybody maintains their level of productivity. One of the agencies that we worked with in the government space was the city of Los Angeles. So we sat down with Tim Ross, who's the CIO of the city of Los Angeles. And, earlier on in the pandemic, Tim was telling us, hey, my employees are now working from home. I don't have any tools. They don't have the right level of connectivity. They're oftentimes fighting, at home for their broadband connectivity with their spouse and the kids, doing school from home. I want to make sure that they have connectivity. I want to make sure that that connectivity I have, as the CIO, security and control of that connectivity. In addition, what about collaboration and engagement tools? How can we make sure that the employees can continue working together in that environment? So we really sat down with them and we designed that solution, which was a version of what we launched with WFX, and they were one of the early adopters. On the total other end of the spectrum, think of one of the largest oil companies here in the US. We sat down with their CIOs. Again, it was in the middle of the pandemic. And what he shared with me was, hey, give me a solution that would work not only today because we are in the middle of the pandemic, but tomorrow, no matter where my employees are going to be. Some of them might be in our actual office locations. Some of them might be, actually on the oil rig, and some of them might be on vacation on a beach, and they still want to maintain that level of productivity. So it's really about creating that ubiquitous solution that works anywhere, anytime, on any mobile device that the employees choose to use. I think that's really the key element, giving the flexibility to employees to choose their devices and the devices that they want to connect from.
I love the city of Los Angeles example for two reasons. First of all, it's government. And many times, those of us who work in businesses forget that work from home wasn't ever a thing for governments, maybe with the exception of some outsourced call center type of activities. But so it is a fundamental black and white change. And the other reason I love it is because it's big. This is not an example of a small city. This happens to be one of the largest cities in the world, and I think that's impressive.
That's right. And they were able to pivot, and adopt this new trend and offer, use technology to enable their employees and, continue serving, the citizens of LA. So that was a very meaningful use case that we worked on. And we really felt privileged to be able to support, to your point, one of the largest cities in the world, and making sure they maintain their productivity during those challenging times for all of us.
So let's shift into something we all know and love, and that's 5G. And first of all, I want to thank you for making Moor Insights Strategy look really smart. 2.5 years ago, we wrote a report on who is going to lead in the United States in 5G, and you were at the very top of the list. We took a lot of heat for that, but thank you for leading 5G in the United States. Made us look very smart. So thank you.
Hey, right back at you for trusting us and believing in the story, because back then it was nothing more than just a story and a vision that we all had. But, we had this view that bringing the combined assets of T-Mobile and Sprint together was really going to give a differentiated advantage to the new T-Mobile. And I think that today, without a shadow of a doubt, we have established that we have, 5G dominance. I mean, let's call it what it is, right? AT&T and Verizon, they can offload their media business so that they can fund, the investments that they're making into mid-band, and they need to build that mid-band. Even with that, that we have a significant advantage in the industry, and we want to make sure we bring that 5G advantage and put it in the hands of business customers.
So, Mishka, as consumers, we see the benefits of 5G everywhere out there. But I have to ask, for the mobile worker, are there more opportunities or less opportunities for them? And how is 5G helping them?
I would just start by saying that 5G is going to provide more opportunities for everyone, period. As it relates to the mobile workers, think of, again, I'm going to go back to the launch of WFX. This was the first time 5G was used in a significant, meaningful, nationwide way to really demonstrate what a distributed 5G network can do for mobile workers. We know that during the pandemic, business customers were really struggling about ensuring that their employees from home had the right level of connectivity. So as part of WFX, we launched Home Office Internet, which is a 5G fixed wireless connectivity, just to make sure that, the employees working from home have their own dedicated and secure connectivity, using the business applications so that they can maintain their productivity and engagement no matter where they are. As part of our fixed wireless suite of solutions, we have a solution for small businesses that we have also just launched. And, we are continuing to add to that solution suite, moving up to enable enterprises to have, 5G connectivity in all of their satellite locations as well. So that's the first real manifestation of 5G, putting it in the hands of users, of mobile users anywhere. So that's the first part. The second part, when I think of 5G, and Patrick, that I've been having conversations, with Moor Insights, as you said, for over 2 years now. The excitement and what we really feel very compelled to share is what 5G can do in terms of enabling new use cases, new business applications, allowing enterprises to drive incremental efficiencies in the way they run their operations, to serve their customers better, to serve their employees better. And that's part of 5G. We have started seeing some early indicators of how it's going to be adopted across multiple industries. And, I look forward in the coming weeks to come back and, share a little bit more about how we're thinking about that. Because, all of these sophisticated use cases, and I use the word sophisticated, which also could be a code word for complex. When you hear private networks and, mobile edge computing or multi-edge computing, it has a different definition depending on who you're talking to. Even our own customers, we have to go through multiple discovery sessions to really understand what are they trying to accomplish by, rolling out and deploying these new emerging technologies. So our approach is really to be customer-centric, understand what's the business outcome that enterprises are trying to achieve, and then really simplify a very complex area within this 5G era.
Well, now that we're on the subject, I mean, you are responsible for strategy, products, and solution engineering, which, by the way, is a lot. So it goes further than communications and collaboration. If you'd like to tell us about all the secret things you're working on in the future, you can, but I won't ask. But maybe talk about some other opportunities that you're excited about at T-Mobile for Business related to enterprise companies.
The DNA of T-Mobile, and by extension, the DNA of T-Mobile for Business, is to really simplify complex, areas for industries, complex areas for consumers. And we want to take that same DNA and that same mentality, that same vision, and apply it to the business space. So when I was talking about, the emergence of these new 5G enabled technologies, it's awfully complex. It's not only complex for the providers, for all the partners within the ecosystem, it's equally complex for business customers. They have to, envision new business models. They have to understand, so what is going to be the value that I'm going to derive from the deployment of these new technologies? And we want to be right there with them, help them with, simplifying that entire ecosystem and giving them solutions that they can really take to the bank immediately. And so I'm just going to leave it at that on that front. Just know that there's a lot of great things that our team is working on. And as I mentioned, maybe in the next few weeks, if you'd have me back, I'd love to come back and share some details around what we're doing in that space.
Let me think about that. Yes, we'd love to have you on to talk about that. So, Mishka, we are at time here, but I just want to thank you so much for coming on to the 6-5 Summit 2021. You've made it a more exciting show. I love the hints at the end, and our audience is going to love it. So thank you so much for coming on.
Patrick, thank you so much for having me. And I know I've said this before, but I want to take this opportunity to, reiterate it in this forum. I love Moor Insights. I love your authenticity. I love the way, you and your entire team really approach the industry. We are a better industry because of Moor Insights in it. So thank you so much. And I look forward to continuing this conversation in the future.
Oh, what a great ending. I need all show endings to be like that. But thank you so much. And this is Pat Moorhead with Moor Insights and Strategy signing off for the 6-5 Summit 2021.